Go. Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce, and today you are with me and Janet from Another Planet as we discuss the 1970s science fiction. I guess you'd say this is the birth of an era.
Comedy. Science fiction comedy is what it says.
It is. It
Which
is.
I
It,
was really shocked because I didn't think it was very funny. I mean, it had a few funny things in it, but it was very depressing. I
this
thought it
is
was.
this is a start of a phenomenon, I think, because Dark Star was kind of like the second sci-fi movie that came out within a couple of years, and I would say it came out like '69 when they had the Kubrick film 2001, and that
Hmm.
had some neat special effects in it. This movie had some
What
really
year did that come out?
69 for
Really?
yep,
2001 Space Odyssey came out then?
yep.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome back, Six Nations. Hello, the Crafting Gamer.
Hello, Stora Poopus.
Porta Poopus. Hello, humans and other quitters. Um, hello, sir. I This movie was initially released as a student project for like they had 40 minutes of the film. And I'm
Hmm.
sure if they would have kept it like that and just released it like that or let it be on syndication or on late night movies, it would have a much better response to it. Janet's giving, I'm not trying to talk over or around Janet, but Janet is giving a more than likely normal response to watching this film.
Hmm.
However, because of the fact they thought that, oh, this would make a great movie, this should be a theatrical release, they went back with like another $60,000 or so. Like the initial budget was 7,000. They got 1,000 from the college, 6,000 out of John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon.
But that was a student film, right?
Yep, that was the 40-minute
and
movie.
and they use that to pitch it to the
Yep,
people to get people to want to make it into a big film.
yes, that was
That
the
cost
investor.
7,000.
That was the investor load.
I would like to see that version of it.
Yeah, so do I. This we watched was the theatrical release that
Mhm.
they added some stuff, did some reshoots, and I don't know if it added much to it. I thought it made it more depressing. Uh, saw,
God.
yeah, I hey RPG Grandma, yes, that weird comedy. The the fact that the movie starts off with Mission Control saying, "Hey guys, it's too expensive for us to help you fix your radiation leak. You're gonna have to just suffer with that, and we wish you the best of luck. You are the best of us. Good luck."
Well, the thing is, they were way out in outer space, so
Yeah,
I don't see how they would have ever
that
had them catch up with them and help them fix it.
that
You see
would
what I mean?
be that'd be an interesting way for them to explain it because they
And
would
was
have.
that the voice of the captain, whoever it was talking to them over the intercom, the video com? Wasn't that the director's voice
One of
dubbed
the
over?
voices that you hear is John Carpenter's,
Yeah.
but the actual transmission at the start of this is not John Carpenter. It's some
Oh.
suave looking dude. And it was interesting to see this because it definitely it's a product of its time. And I say that because one, Six Nations is here with us, and two, you have all the beards, all the '70s haircuts, and you can definitely tell this was not filmed in '85 or '92 or 2003. With the way everything looks in this film, this is a movie that most definitely was made in the 1970s, and that's all I can truly say about that because just the look of it, and for them to say that these are military uh, uniforms and such, or outfits that the Air Force or NASA would use, they tried. They most certainly
Well, they
tried.
just had jumpsuits on like this one with some patches on it.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't the problem. And plus the inside, the control room with all the gadgets and doodads they had, and one chair facing that way, one that way, like that, and the monitor at the end. They even had little pictures of their girlfriends or whatever posted up there. It looked pretty authentic. I mean, to me, that wasn't the part. The part that was so stupid was the when they went outside the ship. That part. It was like the ship was going too fast for the background, things like little things like that. And a lot of that it was probably editing that did that. And a few of the things, I mean, uh, they were really thinking ahead, trying to make the monitors and all the controls look authentic, which they did great because like the part that I looked up that they used ice trays and turned upside down with lights underneath, which was really, really good. Even the uniform that they wore to go outside the ship, to me was even really good considering their budget was so low. It was little things like with the 8-track tape. That just took me out of the scene because everyone knew an 8-track didn't have video. So the fact that they used that they should have done a little, like in Star Trek they used this little square and they stuck it in, or a circle or a triangle or whatever it was. Something like that would have been more realistic than the 8-track tape. Even the ball was a better thought process with the hands coming out of the bottom of it. They look like the hands from the creature from the Black Lagoon coming out the bottom of the the beach ball. But the fact that that was smart, that was different. It was unique. So that wasn't what was bad. It was other little things like that I didn't like. And I absolutely loved the Bob. Bob. I just loved that character was hilarious. That was the funniest part.
That I think is like the part of the movie that was initially sold. I think that was the part they initially had, and then everything else is just kind of like we need filler, so let's grab filler. Let's get all the filler we can, like the elevator scene. The elevator scene is more tragic, and it's kind of clumsily filmed. You can definitely tell they had an intent for that to be funny, but Dan O'Bannon could only do so much with what he had. He's not exactly an auteur yet. He hasn't written the original Alien script. He 4 hours ago he was probably in his car smoking a bowl, and probably enjoying himself, getting himself ready.
But I could definitely see little tidbits here and there that would open up to more when they had more to handle, they had more to put into something. For the script that was coming up in their future when it came to Alien. You could definitely tell, like the whole corridor thing, how scary that was. And it was way scarier when you saw him looking down and looking around before the lights came on. The darkness of it, because his fear, and you could tell he was trying to breathe and calm himself down before he went in to get the ball, the beach ball creature. But when the lights came on, to me, that it wasn't as scary for some reason. I guess the darkness gives you that little bit of a fear of what might be in there, or what you don't know is dangerous. You know what I mean? That part of it. So I don't know. There was little things that I know that watching this, and I guarantee they watched this over and over again to give them ideas on what they should have done a little differently, and you learn from it. And I could definitely tell he learned from his mistakes because he got better every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the first movie he actually does after this is The Fog. I might be wrong, but I think that was the first major release he did, and this was the lead up to it. But this movie, for all intent and purposes, I applaud it. Like this was not lightning in a bottle like Star Wars was, but this was definitely like you can tell that more comes later on, and it's so good.
Well, the thing is one thing I did notice as it progressed, and then afterward, when we talked about it, and I learned more because I try not to look stuff up beforehand, and that's so hard because I'm on my phone right now trying to find tidbits of information about it. Uh, Before, when we had more time, I had a little more time to research, find juicy tidbits, like they were suing someone or someone was ripping them off, all these things. But it to be the longer it went through, I kept saying it was like they dragged out areas they didn't have to fill in space, because this script was probably written for a short. A lot of my friends write shorts to compete in competitions for festivals.
Mhm.
And a film festival, if your short is a hit and it gets put on YouTube and other ways of getting it out there, it could get picked up by a studio, or a director or an actor might see it and say, "Oh, I love this movie. I want to star in it. We want to make it into a feature film."
So,
So you need a longer script.
so the way that it went, this was released in late 74, early 75 for American
Mhm.
audiences in
Yeah.
theaters. But after this movie, he got greenlit to direct Assault on Precinct 13, which is a fine film,
Mhm.
very, very taut film.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, it'll be on
Precinct 13. Is that what you
Assault
said?
on Precinct
Yeah,
13.
I
It
haven't
is
seen
a
it.
classic, but
I haven't
it's a
seen
70s noir film where a bunch of gang members assault a cop shop,
it.
and
Mhm.
it's fucking scary. It's really well done for its time. They did great with the blood squibs. They do good with the acting. It's actually one of the better films of the 70s. I would rather us watch that movie than Defiance with Jan Michael Vincent, which there's some of you that just
Well,
recognize
see,
that.
that's another thing I want to add really quick.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
a person that writes a script and gets their friends and other family members, and people they might work with, to donate to help make a film for a festival, a short,
Mhm.
which is probably what this was before they made it into a feature film length wise. And the difference is that you have limited amount of people to work on it. You're lucky if you get ding dongs donated from the guy down the road
Yeah.
that owns the gas station. You know what I'm saying? For drinks and water, and you have makeup, and then you have wardrobe, and then you have sound. You have all these different departments normally. So when you get a budget from a big company, like a production company, you get names. You get names for who you can have to help you hire people that are actors, someone to continuity person. You get more substance into it, because now, instead of the director or the screenwriter doing all the work, having to find the props, having to find all the makeup people and everything, or do the makeup themselves, or the backdrops, the sets, all that different stuff, you have people that are brought in from the production company, right, that help you do it. So a lot of the burden is taken off of the direction of that one person, or the two people that came together to make it something. So you can definitely tell little things like that. If I could see the original, see what I mean? Then I could say, oh, there was huge improvement in this or that or whatever. See? Like the part where he crawls into the duct. You remember that scene,
Yep.
chasing the ball? Now that was probably in the original, the very original.
I
And
agree.
then the part where you see him in the actual duct looking down, you see the grid down there, and then you can look up and see where the elevator bottom is. All that, I'm sure, was put in after, because it looked more expensive. It looked more professional, like it had a lot more other people involved in building it and making it look a certain way compared to the one before that. See what I mean?
Mhm.
Little things like that, I could see subtle differences, but the editing was excellent then. If that's what they did, and they took the original and they edited in new pieces, that they had an excellent editor, whoever it was, because they did a really good job. Now, the whole thing, like I said, I just started laughing when the one scene with the young man is he finds the laser problem that the balloon creature had just messed up, right? and misaligned the lasers. So he's trying to get that fixed. But the only thing is that his boss that's up in the control room, they're in the middle of doing something else, and he just flicks off his microphone so he can't hear them. So he's down there technically trying to do something very dangerous all by himself. And he gets blinded, and then he falls into the lasers and makes an explosion. It sets a whole bunch of stuff on fire and damages the computer. So all that stuff happens, and that's what messes up the bomb. That's the biggest, the climactic part of the movie. But all of that happened simply because nobody was doing what they were supposed to do. Procedure, follow procedure, follow procedure. They spent years following procedures, and they were boring and sad. They're flipping cards and just, putting Google eyes on, doing anything to just have
get
some
them.
normalcy in their lives. Yeah. But the one day when they really needed the procedures and why they had those, they just say, fuck it, I don't want to deal with it. See, that's when the chaos started. So I really like that. I like that the reality of it, because we all do that. You know how we all work real hard because we go, we're going to be the best at our job. Our boss is going to love us, and he's going to want to make me employee of the month. We all go gung ho. We all get in that, and then we get in a rut. Like, I hate this job. I can't wait to get out of here. We get in that mode, and that's where they were. Now, the young guy that was down there in the lasers, he wasn't in that mode. Nope. But the guy that was in charge, the one person supposed to make sure you do your job, because we all have to rely on each other to get things done. Because if he'd just done his job at that moment, none of that other stuff would have happened. So it ends up becoming chaos because they weren't focusing on what their jobs were. And I like that. I like the humanness of it, but also they did try to make it a very dark comedy, yes. But I just thought it was so depressing. The movie was so depressing because all I could think of is you have these 4 guys traveling through space, someone who just died. One of them's having really bad nightmares and stress problems because his person died right next to him, and he's trying to deal with that in this confined environment where nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? That was depressing. And they have no women. They have no one to caress or think about it. They don't even have videos to watch or anything. You know what I mean? So it's really depressing and sad. Then when you go down in their dorm, it's like a pigsty down there, and there's trash everywhere, and they're all stuck in the same quarters together, and the dead guy's thing has his medals that look like and stuff sitting on his nice made bed. Little things like that. It was just, I felt sorry for them. I felt sorry for the guys, and that was depressing. And then from that on, you see the chaos going on with each of the different characters and how much they hate where they're at. So that made it even more depressing. And then this got progressively more sad to me. That was how I was viewing it. But I'll shut up for a minute and let you do some talking about some of the things that I brought up.
I get it. Like there's a lot of this movie that like I'm whitewashing in my head. It's not something that I need to criticize. One, you're ripping it to shreds just fine by yourself. I love this movie.
Sorry.
I do. I love this film because it's a silly, stupid little film where some people got together. They probably drank some beers or they did some weed, and they said, "We're gonna make a movie, man." Yeah, man, it sounds good. And this is back in the 70s. We don't have the full blown green movement bullshit going off, but they are trying to figure out how to do different sorts of energy production at the time, and this is a product of its time. It would have fit in a little better had the script been written in 73 or 74, especially. John Carpenter, he is a good auteur director. He's a very, very fun director, but he is very much a liberal. He does not like capitalism. A lot of his movies rail against it, especially the classic movie They Live, which the ultra right love to say, "See, John Carpenter hates reptilian aliens too," and that's really not it. He wrote that movie because he hates Republicans, and He hated the Republicans in 1980s, and that's what it
I
is.
didn't see anything in this movie. I mean, I know I'm interrupting, but I didn't see anything in this movie that even remotely reminded me of politics.
There's nothing really political about this film,
Yeah,
except for the
I
fact
like
that
that part of it.
except for the fact that in the military, and I'm sure in NASA, when you are overstepping your authority or boundaries, your immediate supervisor smacks you down, and that's the first 2 minutes of the film when the captain on Earth is like, "Hey, I'm sorry to hear about your problems with all the radiation leaks and everything, but we're just gonna like write you off. You have to figure it out yourself, do what you do, and we'll wish you the best from down here. You represent the best of us." And that's about where the politics stop. If this movie had been written in '74,
Hmm.
they would have had an entire like 2 minute spiel about how we're trying to figure out a better source of energy than petroleum, and still be using nuclear bombs to destabilize rogue planets. They'd still be doing that. That might be the only political part of it where we're going around the galaxy, blowing up planets that really don't belong in this unusual orbit. And I'm sure had time even gone further, like they would have done something more with the Alien script. But the Alien I thought was funny as hell, and I
I
just
did too.
every
That
time I
was
saw
funny.
the Alien and the bomb for me are the movie. The
Mhm.
other parts of the film, like
They
all
were
the
filler.
yeah, it was filler, but they have to pad it out because they want to make a theatrical release. Let's make it over 80 minutes long. It's
Mhm.
not the slowest 80 minutes I've ever watched. For me, it you have to wade through the weeds to get to the garden, and that's just kind of how I felt about this movie. Am I going to watch the end? Yep. One thing I love about this movie is that's one of the few times you get to see Dan O'Bannon be an actor. He's not an actor by a whole lot of measure. He's mainly a script writer. Everything that is on IMDb that has the word aliens in it, Dan
Mhm.
O'Bannon's in the credits. He's always in the credits. They always credit Dan O'Bannon, the late scriptwriter Dan O'Bannon, with being responsible for the Alien franchise, even though other people were there kind of with him. But he was the birth of it, and it all happened thanks to this film. And I recognize that the funny little alien beach ball jumping on the back of O'Bannon, and he never got that off his back throughout his life. It was great, and I find this movie to be just a joy to watch because I finally get it. I finally see where everything's starting to come together in Hollywood, and then you have the bomb, which has twice now wanted to arm itself and has to be convinced to go back in the ship by the ship's computer, played by a woman, I might add, that
Yeah.
nurtures the bomb back in the bomb bay. You don't need to go off just yet. I think it's great. I thought this
Yeah,
movie
I
was
like the
great.
fact that they used a woman's voice, not because it sounded more realistic or anything. It was because it was calmer.
Mm-hmm.
Because you already had four men's voices going, constantly,
Yep.
talking to each other, and they were depressing. So listening to the woman's voice, it kind of calmed me down a little bit and took me away from the edge. Just like I was saying, it was so freaking depressing. I was like, oh my God, how are these guys surviving? I can't believe they haven't killed each other yet. Because it was so depressing about their living environment. The one guy sitting there playing the bottles and tin cans, I almost started crying because I felt so sad for him because he looked miserable. You know what I mean? He just looked miserable. It was really sad. And then the fact that they blurred out all the naked ladies, so even a person watching the movie couldn't at least get the joy of seeing the nude women all over the
Yeah,
pinups, all
they
over the
blurred
women's
all the
bedroom.
pinups out. Can't have that. You know,
Yeah, so I was depressed. I mean, I was really getting depressed because it was so sad. I mean, all of that. But one part that I did write down, I'm glad that I did, that I really liked was when you got in the fight with the alien ball. It had the big, ugly, gross hands that looked like they were from the creature, the Black Lagoon. That's what they looked like to me. But when he was arguing with him, when it jumped on him, I thought it was going to start killing him, eating his head off or something, but it didn't. So when
no,
he got the broom and he was fighting with it with the broom and stuff, that was comical. But when he was going down the hallway after all that shit where he almost got killed in the elevator shaft, and then he decides to go get that gun, right? And he gets the gun and you see him barreling down the hallway with that dramatic music, and all the lights are red, blink, blink, blink. They're all turning red as he's walking along. I love that. I thought that was very, very cool. And then when he's going towards the doorways, what did you notice anything about the doorways that said caution and stuff like that? When he's going
Yeah,
toward, they look like caskets.
yeah.
They were all shaped like caskets. Every one of them, I was like, oh, see, it's leading you to the death. I mean, all of it. I just kept seeing death, 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 warning signs going off. So even though it was depressing, the woman's voice did calm you down. At least it did for me. And Bob being so calm, like when they're panicking because the time's going click, 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 ticking down to where they're all going to blow up, right? And then those two fighting in the control room because he's like, I got to go do this. And the other one's trying to stop him. They're biting each other and shit. I laughed at that because that was funny. They're desperate. They're all so desperate to not explode, right? And then you got the guy in the spacesuit that's unconscious on the floor basically, the whole time this other stuff's going on. And the one that's outside trying to talk to Bob to get him to realize he can't blow up the ship because then he won't be around or that he might be doing something that's against the rules. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was great. But I saw something that Bob, somebody in the chat said something about my outfit, what it was made out of. This is an old flight suit of my dad's that I got out of the closet. And I'm wearing it. I took all the patches and stuff off because he was in the Air Force. I don't know. It's made out of like what do you call it? Army
Nylon olive drab.
Yeah, it's like olive pants, like like a flight suit. It's a real flight suit. So
I dig it, and I recognize that as also a relic from our past. So
yeah,
like
this is old.
It's super old. It's still cool.
Yeah,
I like weeds. We have a saying where I'm from because a lot of us, a lot of my friends had acreage on their land. Their parents had to, they would make a garden. They would till a garden up, and then right before the garden, they wouldn't give a shit. They would just let that area grow kind of wild.
Yeah,
10 feet of wild grass and whatever.
Now he's mad at me. Sorry.
In the garden. They get in the garden itself, and the garden's nice and tilled, and that's where you do your weeding and such. But outside the garden, let the weeds grow. Fuck them. Just let that grow. We'll get that mowed down and worked out before winter. But we would wade through the weeds to get to the garden, and that's just kind of how it is. You have to. You're going to have some unpleasantness. And the other thing about the weeds is that a lot of people have their swine traps in the tall grass. So yeah, the swine will try to come on the property and try to get at your veggies or whatever else you got. But then you hear something snap shut in the middle of the night, and you hear an angry squeal, and you'll see the weeds move, and there will be one stuck in a trap, and the other 7 to 12 run for the hills. It's great, And now you've got fresh pork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well. And plus, I gotta tell him, if you're on X, unless I open X myself, right now I have YouTube open on my thing so I can talk to anyone in my chat on YouTube, but I'd have to go to X to be able to talk to you because for some reason I can't type on this app that Bruce has to talk to people on the other thing. So if I don't see it and get to read it right when it comes up, I don't know what you're saying. And I saw something that he said, I think it's Warrior. Yeah, it looks like Warrior's picture, right? Is it Warrior?
Warrior.
And I want to show him my cup. It looks like a can of Lysol. And it says, bitch be gone. It says, fuck around and find out spray. Eliminates dumb bitches. And it's metal. So I just was going to let you see what I'm drinking out of. So you can see it.
Giggity.
Yes, I kept the patches and stuff. I'm reading it on. It says chapter changed. Yes, I kept the patches, and I have all the little wings and all the different stuff that he had for his uniform. And I also have a hat, a couple of different hats, and his fatigues and some other stuff that I've been able to get. So I have all that, and I use them. As you can tell, to try to dress as close to it as I could. Get to remember there wasn't any women in this. There was only 4 men in a computer.
Yeah, the computer was the soothing voice of home,
Mhm.
basically throughout the entire film. But yeah, all the doors look like coffins on here. There's so many little
A lot of
things.
symbolism. You can see there's a lot of symbolism in this if you're paying attention, and that's why if you get this and you get to watch it, you need to watch it multiple times because I'm sure if I watch it 2 or 3 more times, I'm going to find more things that I wasn't able to put down fast enough as for my notes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
this is a movie I could definitely see myself watching more than once. It had enough little giggles in it from me to where like I want to see this again.
well, the
I
guy that played the captain, the leader of the boat or
Albie.
the leader of it, the one that had this curly black hair and the scruffy beard.
Hmm.
Okay, what was he in after that? Because he looked very familiar to me. The other two, I don't recognize from anything else.
Dre Panik. That's what it looks like. Let me just we'll go through the IMDb together. Okay, so we got Dan O'Bannon, extraordinaire, scriptwriter extraordinaire. That's
Oh, he
Pinback.
helped write it, and
Yeah,
was he in the movie too?
yeah, he was Pinback. He was the guy
Yeah,
from
okay, that's what I
Taylor.
thought. Now he was he was real good for his part. A person that's very paranoid.
Hmm.
You could tell that because of the when he put the 8-track tape in there, and you saw the different times he had made entries. It was funny. Now I did laugh at that, and the fact that it was on an 8-track tape. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's so much about this movie that I just find enjoyable, but it's probably more fun to talk about this movie than watch it for the fifth or seventh time. But I would definitely watch this movie again.
Yeah,
Uh,
I need to watch it again just so I can, pick up on a lot of the symbolism. Just like I said, there's so much in it that I missed.
Dre Pollock.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this guy here. He was in another movie called Bloodbath, and after that, he left film school.
Okay,
And
I don't know who that is. I
his
thought he looked
dialogue
familiar.
in Dark Star was dubbed by John Carpenter. Apparently, he didn't speak well enough for the
Yeah, that's
microphone.
what I said. I thought there was a thing where he was speaking and it wasn't even the actor. It was John Carpenter did it, but he liked that character for the part, with his
Mhm.
look for the part.
And Bloodbath is a Dan O'Bannon directed and written movie.
Hmm.
Dan O'Bannon will go to that real quick. This guy's a stud in terms of writing movies. Uh, he is writer. Yeah, he's been
You
dead.
could tell he enjoyed being in this film.
Oh yeah.
He was very vibrant, determined. He had that very determined attitude that comes across. There's a lot of things that people you have to have it or you don't. Now that's what remember I've mentioned that many times watching the movies with Kurt Russell in them. You can tell that Kurt Russell likes the movies that he does
Hmm.
because he has an attitude that comes across on camera because he is determined to be that character, and you could tell. A couple other actors, the one from uh, Galaxy Quest, the one that played the dramatic actor, what was his name again?
Alan Rickman.
Oh, I loved him, and he's that way. You can tell when he plays a character, he wants to be the best he can be at that character that he's playing. And
See,
there's a few scattered actors that are able to do that.
I love
But you
Alan
can
Rickman,
tell.
but my love for Alan Rickman lies between two films and two films only. Every film
Mhm.
he did was great. Don't get me wrong. It was every film that Rickman was in was greatly benefited by his presence.
Mhm.
But between Die Hard from 1988 and Galaxy Quest in 1999, those are the two movies I could watch forever.
I loved him in Harry Potter
I've
too.
never seen a Harry Potter film.
You haven't?
Nope.
You're missing out. The acting in those movies are so good. There's such good actors in there.
Maybe I'll watch it one of these days. I don't know.
You need to.
I,
It's
I will. I will not read
especially
the
the
book until
I
I've
don't
seen.
know which movie it is, but the movie that where you find out that Alan Rickman was in love with Harry Potter's mother, that he does such a wonderful job. It brought tears to my eyes when he's talking about when she died and stuff. It's really good. He's such a good actor. I mean, he's just phenomenal. And there's so few of them that live and breathe the part that they're playing. And I have been on set with a few actors that say quiet on the set, because they need to be dramatic or whatever for the actor, and they suck. I think they're just not very good actors. They're overly dramatic in public, but they suck as they're not like these people. They don't have this quality of like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's a great person in person. He's a great actor. He loves what he does, and it comes across on screen. And there's just a handful of actors that have that, or actresses.
I agree.
And it shows. And you could tell that most of these actors that do such a great job that way actually get along and like the directors that they're working with too. I can definitely say that.
So while a lot of people that have video reviews would go the easy route by saying, I'm going to do a Stanley Kubrick month, or I'm going to do a
Mhm.
Clint Eastwood month, Bruce, as much as I want to, I will not be doing any months dedicated to one specific actor or director. If
Mhm.
I were, I would give it to Dan O'Bannon. I'd do 7 weeks of solid Dan O'Bannon stuff. We just watched
Mhm.
Dark Star. We reviewed Aliens 2 years ago. He wrote the original screenplay for Alien.
Mhm.
He wrote a segment in Heavy Metal, which Janet has not seen. Pretty
I
much,
don't remember us doing any alien movie yet.
we did Aliens, I believe.
I don't think we've done it. I think you should go back and look at your movies. I don't remember doing it.
Okay. Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder, we did. We haven't done yet, but I definitely want to put that movie on the list. That movie
Mhm.
there, Dan O'Bannon kind of gets into the weeds with,
Yeah, we've been asked to do heavy metal
yeah,
before. Mhm.
but we will. That movie's a bunch of vignettes. Keep that in mind.
Mhm.
It's not a movie with a cohesive, continuous plot. There is a thread that goes through there. It's
Mhm.
not a heavy thread.
Mhm.
This movie, Blue Thunder, I really like because Roy Schneider's in it. We've done some Roy Schneider stuff before with the movie Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Then he wrote the screenplay to Return of the Living Dead. He did the screenplay for Life Force, which I love that movie. Both of them. I mean, yes, that movie's great. Invaders from Mars. We'll watch that because I used to see that movie on all the time. It was a good rental. That was Toby. These two are Toby Hooper directed films. Toby Hooper directed Life Force, so he could do Invaders from Mars.
Yeah, we did Life Force, didn't we?
Yes, and I loved it.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Is that what was that this one?
Hold on, let me get back to
Was
you.
that one the one with the vampires?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
the constant headlights. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great. That was a fun one. I enjoyed doing that movie.
he wrote the screenplay for Total Recall because he loved the
Now we
short.
haven't done that one.
Nope. Then he is credited for Alien 3 based on characters by
Yeah, look at all them great movies.
Alien versus Predator, the video game, which I wish I'd never played that. That was terrible. Then he did Screamers. He did a screenplay
Uh-huh.
years before, and then they rewrote the script, but they gave him credit for the screenplay
Yeah.
because he had left a lot of good stuff in it. And he did this movie that wasn't well received, but I remember seeing the adverts for it. AVP, Alien Resurrection, Requiem. Between these two films is when he passed. Yeah, I think he had like Parkinson's or Lou Gehrig, something tragic like that. He was just a little older than my dad. Good
Yeah.
guy. And they give him credit. Everything that's got the Alien franchise on it, his name is permanently attached to.
So he's helping. That's great because that means he's making a good living off of a great concept, whether it's through video games, a TV show, you know, movies. I think it's really good, and I'm happy that he's able to do that, because not a lot of writers have that kind of constant money coming in.
No.
So, you know, like the lady that wrote the Harry Potter's books, and Anne Rice, a few others were successful enough to get a movie deal and be able to have more and more money coming in. And I think they did make some video games, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
With Anne Rice for the vampire stuff.
Not Anne Rice. Based on loosely by works by Anne Rice.
Mm-hmm.
If Bear is the one to lead you into the D10 vampire RPG, he might do a good job of it. I'm pretty certain he will. He just has to run a longer game.
Yeah.
That's my criticism for Bear as a tabletopper that runs live streams. I was ready to keep going into the 10:30, 11 o'clock hour on Saturday. Janet, I could hear her allergies firing up at like a 96 decibels in her little port.
In 12 hours, it starts to wear off. There's nothing I can do about it.
Come on, get with it. We're going to be playing for a while. Blah blah blah. I know you have a limited time. You have responsibilities behind the screen. You want to be a mom. I get it. You know,
You're a farmer.
can't be a gamer all the time,
Mm-mm.
and that's understandable. But I was still able to go, and I'm like, all right, fine. I gotta push further.
Yep. But you're different. You're writing the game. You're not actually playing it. That's why it's exciting to be able to do that. But I did see some continuity problems in that. And that one of them was the scene where they go into the dormitory room, which killed me when I saw the cots sitting there, and then the one cot made with army blankets and had his medals and stuff or whatever, you know, sitting on the bed. I thought that was funny. And they're walking around, you can hear cans and bottles moving around. I thought that was funny because I goes, heck, it's just like a dorm. And then the back wall is plastered with nothing but naked ladies, you know, and they're smoking in there. That was another thing that would crack me up.
Yeah, the smoking is what I want to talk about, because I was told all my life, if you were to fire up a smoke in the space station, you'd detonate the entire thing.
Yeah.
Forced oxygen would cause a big explosion. And
well, the expensive equipment. So even in a dorm room, you know, where everybody's, you know, hanging around or whatever, you would think. Now, see, on the Thing, they did good on that because they're in a place in the Antarctica, and it's in a big building. It's not in a rocket ship or something, right? So the fact that he was lighting up is trying to light a cigarette, and he's holding a box or a little flip open thing of matches, that cracked me up. And then the fact that at least they could have done was made something that looked like a futuristic lighter, you know, or something. And the fact that you know, electric cigarette or something to try to make it look more futuristic. But then he gets the cigar guy. Okay, you see him lean back on his cot, you know, against the wall, and he takes a puff off of his thing and he blows the smoke ring. And then a few seconds later, he's lighting a cigar. So he had it backwards. They edited it in wrong. Then the guy comes over and has the googly eyes on. So that whole scene was like, it was just funny. The fact that he lit a cigar. And I go, how many times is he going to light that cigar? It was just funny to me.
Yeah. And the whole time that's going on, all I'm thinking of is like, I didn't hear them like doing something different with this. I thought if you let up a smoke in space, you explode. And then the back of my brain's like, yeah, but what about Dan O'Bannon's script for Aliens, where all the space truckers were heavy smokers? You know.
Well, you know, even in the movie Alien, the first one, when they're sitting around the big table, when the one guy's chest explodes, they're all smoking and stuff after
all lit up. They're all
now, see, to me, that wasn't not realistic, because these people were in the future. People still smoke, you know, and these people are expected to be gone for a very, very long time. So if they took a supply of cigarettes or stuff to make their own cigarettes, I would think that if they're there, and plus the way that they talk, the captain, that was their ship, right? It wasn't a government ship. It wasn't a, um, it was like Firefly, right?
Yeah,
He
it's
owned
supposed
his
to
own
be
ship.
a
So if
scout
they
class.
wanted to smoke or dip skull or whatever it is they're going to do, you'd think they'd have the right to do that. But a military ship like these guys were supposed to have, and they're lighting up like it's no big deal, like it's Christmas, I just thought it didn't fit for what they were supposed to be doing.
Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've known a couple submariners, and they said that their submarine had smoking areas, and I don't know if that's still true or not. I
I
that would
knew a lot of guys in the Navy that smoked. Now I don't know, what they did on the boats or anything, but they had air scrubbers. I know that because I remember a lot of people getting sick when they'd come back from sea after being in submarines for 3 or 4 months underwater, and they have the oxygen made from the water from the ocean, and they would scrub the air, so everyone would get sick, and they'd all be white. I mean, like ghostly white, because they're
yeah,
not ever in the sunshine or
no
whatever.
vitamin D.
And when they did come up, wherever they pop up, somewhere like in Scotland or wherever, they'd only be up for a few days, and they'd get supplies. They'd get to go out and get something to eat or whatever, like a tourist for a few hours, and then go back to the boat, right? So it depends on what you're doing. But yeah, they would all get sick because they were all had germ-free environment, basically, because when you're scrubbed environment constantly. That's what was so neat to me when I got to see the movie, where they were on Mars and they were in that domed city, and the people were suffocating because they didn't have any oxygen. All of that seemed very realistic to me, because at that time, I remember my dad telling us about different things that they did with the underground bases. And I remember him talking about them having underground bases and stuff, and they had air like that to where people didn't get sick because they could keep people from being sick, and different things. They would just cut it off and be able to keep viruses and other things out. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So, and then you're hearing more and more right now. These little videos are coming out showing underground places where people would be able to stay if there was something, like a interstellar that crashed into our planet or whatever.
No,
So,
nobody ever talks about the Dumbs and Phil Schneider that much anymore. YouTube scrubs that. Dumb.
I just know a lot of stuff because I was my dad's, I was like his pet basically, because I was one of those daddy's girls, and I was a tomboy. I loved doing stuff with my dad. So he always told me really cool stories and stuff about stuff that he did, because he was jungle survival, and he did a lot of training and got to do really cool stuff. And I just like listen to him. Plus, we'd go camping and fishing together and stuff. So I was lucky. I got to hear a lot of this cool stuff. Now, whether it was true or not, I don't know, because it just my dad told it to me. So I don't see why he would have a reason to not tell me the truth. But I mean, it wasn't like I was going to go tell secrets to everyone, back then when he was in the military. So I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. When I'd watch these movies, because I loved sci-fi, and horror, those are my favorite, and they still are. Those are my two favorite things. If I could never watch another comedy, I could live. So I wouldn't miss out too much on me. But go ahead, go back to what you were doing.
I was just kind of thinking about the fact that, like, the third act, when Bill Frog or Bill Foog reveals himself that Pinback died before launch, and he took his place, and he'd been masquerading as him throughout the whole time. I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of funny. Like, I did
Yeah,
not.
when they were at the meal, and they were eating the TV dinner type weird things,
They're
right?
all sucking on the
Drinking
condiment.
liquid. They were all like drinking liquid, and I was like, well, that isn't smart, because your insides will shut down. You have to have substance to keep the bowels going and stuff like that. For anybody that knows anything about, going to outer space or astronaut training and all that stuff, you have to have food. Even if it's freeze dried food, you have to have something going into your bowels, that kind of stuff. So the liquid stuff was kind of lame for me. But when he's going on talking about this whole story, and that one guy just complains and says, he told the same story 4 years ago, and they're arguing about that instead of the substance of what he said, because he said right there in that thing that he wasn't the real guy.
Yep.
And they didn't even react. And I made a note and I said, he's not even the real Pembroke. So who is he? So then when he put the tape in and he started talking about it, now I understood he wasn't even trained to do this type of work.
Nope.
So anything he was doing was putting everyone at risk anyways. So I thought that was the intriguing part, but they didn't make more of it. You know what I mean? That would have been a bigger selling point, I think, when they were taking the short and making it into a feature length, to put the intrigue into that part of it a little more, about how it's, like having flashback or something showing how he's endangered the crew before because he's not trained. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just pretending to be someone. He's not really, in a ship that can go faster than the speed of light. Yeah, that was so funny how they did that. And they didn't even fill it up all the way in some of the scenes.
No. I think they had a leak develop on the alien.
Well, I think they did it on purpose because see, it's fuller there, but when it was on the thing, it had to be able to look like it's holding on to the locker, so they had to let some of the air out of it.
Yeah. That looks super full.
See, I just thought it was great. I love the hands, especially when they're sitting there and clicking on the ground, like thinking about, do I want to play with this mouse, or do I want to eat this piece of lettuce or whatever it was, cabbage that he threw at me? Yeah, this whole thing was, see those hands? It looks like the Black Lagoon creature's hands. Yeah, this thing was funny. And I love the camera angles. They did a good job at making it more confined and narrowing the vision of it with the way they filmed things. See how it's tapping its hands and stuff? Mm-hmm. I just thought that was funny. That was the comedy part of it.
I thought the prop manipulation in this movie was really well done.
Yeah, they did really good for the practical effects and stuff like that. That doorway? You see that doorway? It's normal. This is what I was talking about. To watch, you're gonna do the scene where he goes and gets a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just keep playing this, because when you see that, that's when I said, look at the door. It is a coffin. It's a coffin door, and the lights are all red. See how it's white and bright in there right now? When he comes back, it's going to have red lights, like anger. He's going to kick that little thing's ass. I just thought it was great. This whole thing, the camera angles and stuff was funny.
There's a lot of ingenuity in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that really benefits you as a movie maker, when you've got somebody that can take a $4 prop and set a camera up on just like a
now see, this is the part that I said that was the part that's coming up where he's in the other duct.
Yeah.
And it's darker. See how it's getting darker?
Yep.
That was the part that I really think that where they didn't cut that out. You know what I mean? Because the part after, when he's crawling, he has to go into that duct, and he's crawling and he's trying to step out on the edge because there's a ledge there. When he gets in that, and then you change the scene, that's when you could tell that they put money into it, a lot of money for the effect. It's way different.
But this is a film that I think if you want to make movies, this is a must.
Now see, they probably use the same hallway like for
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, 6 or 7 times, and all they did was film at a different angles and from a different perspective.
Rearrange little props.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I mean, that's what's good about having a director, that when they hold their hands up, and you see them do that a lot, they really are able to visualize what it's going to look like in that one area. It doesn't matter. Just like I said, when you're in a room and you got a young couple having hot sex in the movie, right? And that man, you're getting all turned on watching it. Really, in real life, when you zoom out, there's like 25 people in there. there's wires laying everywhere. There's lights and there's microphones, and it is prop people and makeup people standing around waiting to do different things. And it's amazing that an actor can make you believe that that's what they're doing when there's so many people in the room. And they got these little modesty patches on, like this part be covered in their crotch area with it's a little flesh colored little things that they put on, so that, it's called a modesty patch, so that they're not really naked, even though they're naked. You couldn't tell. Honestly, if they're laying on top of each other, you wouldn't believe they weren't naked, but they're not
Yeah, this
technically.
now, before we go any further, I'd
Mhm.
like to just highlight something we
Mhm.
are doing next week. We are watching a classic film called Encino Man. And
Yeah, I
Encino
haven't
Man
seen
is an older 1993 film. You have Pauly Shore and I believe Brendan Fraser
it. Yeah, I
is
haven't seen it before, so it's going to be another new movie for me.
Sean Austin, Brendan Fraser, Pauly Shore, and Megan Ward are in this movie, and it's directed by Les Mayfield. I've never seen it before. It's been told to me that this is a film that we should watch, so I have no problem with that. I am a fan of Pauly Shore. I like what he did with the MTV generation. His mom was a landmark comedian, and
Mhm.
she opened her comedy store doors to anybody that would be funny. That was basically her rule. She did have a lot of LGBT friends, and she helped them get a name in comedy. But she wanted them to be funny first. Don't stand on your sexuality and demand money. Go out there and tell jokes. Be funny. And she told her son that same thing. Do what you do, and you're going to be a successful man. And everybody kind of agreed. Sometimes he was very funny. Sometimes he was not. But next week is the feature Encino Man. I'm looking forward to this movie.
Mhm.
It's not a movie mom and
And
dad.
what it's about? Somebody thawing out a frozen man,
I believe it is.
like Iceman or whatever it was that we watched.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it looks like it's going to be kind of fun to watch. I'm seeing a lot of stills on it, and I got to close that out because that's spoiler territory. But I'm definitely looking forward to this because it's been talked to me for years. um,
Oh, and that is another thing. I made a note. Someone said it in the chat. Six Nations was talking about the lack of gravity. Well, that was one thing, like in their dorm room, that all that stuff wasn't just floating around because they didn't have anything that I could tell that
no,
let them have gravity inside their ship.
no, they didn't
So
have a rotating well or anything. It's just
yeah,
a
there was a few things like that. Now when they did all this computer stuff and it was flashing on the screen, it was this deck, that deck, or whatever. They could have put something on there that said gravity control, or I don't know, something, but they just left there was a lot of open gaps. That was one of the things that I did notice.
yeah.
There was a lot of gaps in continuity for what you would the mistakes that they made, like when they edited things, it didn't go together, and the story had little gaps in it. So I guess when they put things together for the script to make it longer and to add sections in there, that they didn't choose to fill the gaps in with things that knowledge, basically, to help them. Like when he talks about the alien, he's in the closet, basically. It's a closet room where they have lockers and stuff. And he says, "You were so cute when I first found you, and now he's big, and now he's just annoyed by it, the creature,
Hmm.
whatever." And he almost died because of it. So, and then the fact when he shot it and it's going all around. I just thought that was funny too. So, they did have some really good, funny little things in there, but it was very, very depressing. I really felt bad for the guys because it was so depressing. The fact that their government sent them out there to do something was basically stupid. They had no purpose. You know what I mean? There was no real purpose to even go out there, but they were anyways. So that made sense because the government's always spending money on shit we don't need. You know what I mean? And not just a little bit of money, lots of money. So that was the one political thing, I guess you could say, that that movie had in it. Sorry, I can keep finding bad stuff, but hey, I can tell you right now, this movie was a million times better than Willy's Wonder World or Wonderland, whatever it was called.
If you ever have the opportunity to have Janet get PTSD,
Oh,
have on a television nearby Willy's Wonderland, starring in quotation marks Nicolas Cage,
yeah, it was
because
terrible.
that movie put her a few. I've never quite heard.
That's torture movie.
I've never heard you ever complain about a movie like
Oh.
that before.
Yeah, it sounds like you and Cowgirls or whatever that was that
Bad
movie.
Girls.
Yeah, Bad Girls.
Yeah, Bad Girls is a bad movie.
Yeah.
There's others. There's others that are just absolute shit. But I mean, GI
The
Jane.
Cowboy Way. We both agreed on that one.
We both agreed that GI Jane. Oh no, the Cowboy Way was not the same movie we watched when we were younger.
Yeah.
But for me,
I love G.I. Jane.
I hate it. I still hate that movie. Fucking social fiction is what that is. And the only thing they got right in that movie is that the lieutenant had the compass and map, and she couldn't fucking get coordinates. Mm-hmm. So I mean that was accurate. That checked out. I hate that film. I'm sorry. There's times
don't
where
be sorry. I mean, I don't like this one that much either. And there's been a few years that were real not good.
Okay.
The Terror Meat Train or whatever. There's been a couple.
I like Midnight Meat Train.
Midnight Meat Train. That's it.
Brooke Shields.
Oh, I want to put Funhouse, not Funhouse. Terror Train, the one with Jamie Lee Curtis. I still want to put that one on the list too.
Okay. We have like a year's supply.
I know, yeah. I told you we'll never run out of bad movies. We'll always have movies.
We'll always have movies to watch. Chat, if you've seen this movie before, which I already have a couple of nice things from our good friend RPG Grandma, and she's like, got this movie on DVD somewhere. And that's literally what she stated.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that
they actually put it on DVD.
Yeah, actually, Dan O'Bannon pushed it to go on DVD and Blu-ray, and he did a lot of work to make sure this got circulated, and it hit its stride on the VHS era. It was one of the first sci-fi movies to hit VHS, and it really hit cult status thanks to Stars and Stripes, Family Video, Blockbuster. Later on, there was a whole genre of sci-fi that came out because of him, and I got to give this movie props. As much as this movie is not quote unquote that great, I'll give this movie an easy 65% out of 100 because there's enough good in here for me to justify watching it again and having a good laugh. John Carpenter didn't know what he was doing. He just pressed record, and him and Dan went by the seat of their pants, and that was it. You can definitely tell that was it. This is not a horrible film, in my opinion. It's not a great movie by any stretch, but it's definitely watchable. And if you like movies because you like the phenomenon of movies, you like media, and you want to see how things progress, this is a movie that you watch because this kind of shows you the impetus of so many things. And it is the start of the Alien movie series because they have the portion, the beach ball alien was Dan O'Bannon's thing, and he kept a hold of that idea and used elements of that for the script later for the movie Alien, which he was definitely credit on, and he's made that entire franchise. He's part of that franchise. That's all there is.
Yeah.
So if you've got go ahead.
He did a good job at being creative enough and thinking ahead of what he wanted and what he wanted to end up with, and he's just constantly worked on it and improved it. So You know, you should give him kudos for that. I mean, and he's had a good career because of it.
I completely agree. I
And I
think
don't think there's a single person in this world that hasn't heard of Alien. So honestly,
unless you live in a town that's got mud huts and no roads and no running water, and you have no hope for ever having the discovery of those things, yeah, everybody else has heard of Alien.
yeah.
Um,
So
this movie for me is I see a lot in this movie that came in to fruition later. This is like a budding plant that you're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to become? And that's what this is. Uh, Six Nations kind of agrees with me. He says I give it a 70 out of 100. It's a
mhm.
great film. Hell no. What it has is fun and very dark sense of humor. It shows off the early works of sci-fi tropes and the training wheels of writers and directors.
Mhm.
Um, Janet, what do you think? What's your rating on this?
Well, I would give it probably a 6.6 out of 10. Uh, and almost all of that is the creativity part of it. The acting really wasn't good. I didn't think that the actors were very good. The only actor that I thought was mildly entertaining was the writer,
Come
uh,
back.
his character, and I liked the computer, and I liked the bomb. I thought the interaction between the computer and the bomb were really good. Uh, I definitely didn't like any of the scenes outside the ship. It was like um, they rushed through all of it. You know, they didn't even try to make the ship go slower. Like, you know, even in Star Trek, they got some really bad CGI and really cheap, you know, tricks that they use, but it looked more
They,
realistic.
they were monogram models.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they were better. It was better than that. I mean, there. I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't put any emphasis on the outside stuff or what the ship looked like to the background or anything. That they rushed through that. It was like it wasn't as important as inside. The detail they went into for the inside, the module where they were doing all the switches and the knobs, they didn't put that kind of detail or emphasis or work into what it looked like on the outside. So to me, that just seemed rushed. It just seemed like they just didn't care. But the rest of it, that part of it was good. The detail they went through just to make the suits, that was you could tell that certain people that worked on certain parts of the movie really wanted this to be successful, and then other people just kind of went, eh. You see what I mean?
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I could see that as a viewer, and that's sad because somebody was just in it, or they were just tired, or whatever the reason was. It's just sad that didn't get taken out and fixed when they did get a chance to um, get to money and have a studio back it. But I am thankful that these two got together to write this script, because this script is the reason why the Alien franchise got started. And to me, that's important. So that's basically where the six comes from for me.
That's acceptable.
Mhm.
I'm very okay with that. I I accept that. I I
And
used
I'm
to.
thankful that I did get to watch it, because it opened my eyes to a little bit more, that two people that went to college to go to film school, whatever, and wrote a script, and then got to see it come to life through their future. See what I mean?
Mhm.
What they had in their head and they put down on paper, and then they envisioned it, and they did the best they could with the props and the money that they had to put it on screen. See, the beginning, the budding, uh, nagging inside of them to become something more later. And it did. And because of Sigourney Weaver being put in that role, is one of the reasons why I think it was a overnight sensation, basically, because they did a lot of things right when they made the first one. And not because I'm a feminist or anything like that. For some reason, when she took that part, she wanted it to be successful so bad that she put everything she had into it in her acting abilities. And the director pushed all the right buttons on her while she was doing it to make it bam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what made it a huge success, because
The
you had
voice-
multiple people involved to make it explode. That's what I'm saying.
That's understandable. I do find it kind of funny that Ray Bradbury, there was a portion of the book of the script that was borrowed from a Ray Bradbury sci-fi story.
Hmm.
Dan O'Bannon basically he didn't get it battered, but it talks about, like, there's a few places, including IMDb, where it says he got assaulted by Ray Bradbury at a sci-fi convention later on in life.
Really?
How the fuck did you take my work and apply it to your shit film Dark Star? And Dan O'Bannon's like, I'm sorry, but I liked what I read, and I adapt things. That's what we do. We rewrite stuff. And Bradbury got offended. Bradbury was really offended from what it said. And that's what I can tell you back. What I find also funny is that, like, the AMT brand model kits, that was a semi truck trailer that they used for the bomb bay, which I find, or for the bomb coming out of the bomb bay area.
Yeah.
I found that to be hilarious. And
Yeah. You know what it made me think of the very first time I saw it come out was Legos.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a little Lego that they just kind of like put together and pushed it out.
This movie for me works. I mean, I know I have the lowest score on it. I gave it a 6.5, but I think this movie works in a lot of ways. I'd love to take it back to rewrite school and fix it and make it more exciting. Still with the same budget, even in 2025, I think we could do some stuff. We got enough miniatures here. It would definitely be a different take on it. But I thought Dark Star was so good, and you get a lot out of it. There's a lot of things got recycled for later, and it just for everything that it popped in. Like you see the first. I think this is the first time I've ever seen the knife trick. The first movie I've seen the knife trick worked on.
I
This was
forgot about
filmed
that.
in 71, and that was later used in 86 in Aliens with Lance Hendrickson. So I think this is a great film, and it deserves to be part of history. This is one of the few films where I would say this movie deserves to be part of history, because there's so much comes out of it. Like, much like the movie that we have yet to review, it was a George Lucas film about the car culture in 1971 or two. Chat will help me with that in just a second. But there was a movie that he did where he had Han Solo, Harrison Ford, and some other young guys. Ron Howard was in it. It was all about California car culture and American Graffiti. And it was such a good film, and it started so many things. But that is a good indication of what was to come, because George Lucas was a quality director at the time. He wasn't the best editor. Thank God for his wife at the time. But he did a good job making that movie. American Graffiti is a part of history. We'll watch that here probably around January of next year.
Okay. That's another movie I haven't seen. So,
If you guys have the time, please thank our mods that are in the chat. We've got Ms. Jackie Blue and the many others that are with us today. Me and Janet are watching once again the film Encino Man next week. This is a just a.
It's a comedy, right? Is it a dark comedy or just a comedy?
It's kind of a goofy comedy.
Okay.
It's not like Caveman level quality, but it's a goofy comedy from
Caveman level.
I love Caveman. Caveman's a perfect film. If you're looking for a comedy, there's two movies that are perfect comedies. There's Caveman and there's Airplane. And both of them work because they sell to the lowest common denominator, but they sell it with a smile and a top hat on. Our upcoming streams we got in the next couple of weeks. We've got Encino Man next week,
Mhm.
Year of the Dragon after that, Space Hunter, and the last movie of the month will be Lady Hawk.
Oh, good.
And
I've been
then
wanting to see that one.
the 6th of September, the start of Ramadan, we're watching the movie Not Without My Daughter with Sally Field.
Hmm.
And then in mid-September, we're watching one of my favorite movies from 2006, Black Sheep. Not with David Spade. This is a different Black Sheep.
Well, I haven't seen either one, so okay.
What?
Mm-mm.
Wow, that's crazy.
And Streets of Fire. So that's not Chariots of Fire.
No,
Okay, I haven't seen it either. Then is it a
I'm
fighting
looking
movie?
for there's things I haven't scheduled yet because I haven't secured the location for things yet. But one of them I'd like to do before the end of the year would be The Shape of Water.
Hmm.
And
Is that the one with the creature
yep, the creature
that they
from
got
Black
as a
Lagoon.
prisoner and he likes to eat eggs?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
I'm looking forward to it. I thought I'd share that with you guys
I
because
forgot to change my name. Sorry, from when we played the game yesterday.
yes,
Says Luna.
yes, Six Nations. It is Where Sheep Goodness, and it's made by the people at the Weedo Workshop, so you know the special effects are on point.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that. Janet, what do you have planned for this week?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I guess Monday, tomorrow night, I'll be playing the Guardians on Bear's channel. And then Tuesday, I might be driving to my dad's with one of my sisters, to maybe get some more boxes or whatever out of the closets and stuff. And then Wednesday, we're not, as far as I know, I don't think we're having any kind of game or anything because Marco's mother is still needing his help. So that's been postponed for a while. And then Thursday, I'm working on talking to a few people about my show on Thursday, and then Friday the night shit show again. I always look forward to it. It's fun. We had fun last Friday, so that's
I
it. That's
enjoyed
my
it. It was definitely different. Um, there was a few things we said that some people were like, "What?" It is what it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's gonna happen.
it is, and there's some good stuff that'll happen here too. Before we leave, I'd like to show everybody my favorite new gun girl.
Oh, you're gonna show that video?
Yeah, Sydney
Okay,
Sweeney.
yeah, she did such a good job. I was impressed. Very impressed.
And she was accurate.
Yeah, and she's getting a lot of hate right now, so we need to support her,
I can find yes.
which is sad, that someone gets hate because they're pretty and they can shoot. It's
Mhm.
sad.
Yes, they do call that sheep squatch over in Appalachia. Here's
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney. I better like that one.
Mhm.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Boy, she's steady-handed too.
Time.
Very proud.
9:21.
Oh my god, girl! Was
Yeah.
that your first time? That was really good.
She's
You're going dog nuts. I mean, you're hitting them all over the place, but you're hitting them.
Yeah, she's getting it.
and she's accurate. She's got good stance. She's got good barrel control.
Yeah,
I'm
very
impressed.
comfortable. She's very comfortable.
Yeah, she is.
That's important.
So we're gonna do as our closer. We're gonna have this little gem because I just don't want to do clips. I'd rather just share. Anyway,
Good.
Janet, you want to lead us out before we have Dan start up?
Well, I say thank you to everybody for hanging out with us today, and a few people that showed up and watched the movie with us in Discord, which was fun. I enjoy it. So don't forget next Sunday, if you'd like to watch what's the name of the Encino Man with us. About 12:30.
About 12:30.
Yeah, right around 12:30 Central Time. We'll start it up in my Discord. So just come in and sit down and enjoy the movie with us. And we do talk about it a little bit before we come over and go live. So if you want, it'd be great. It's fun.
Agreed.
Oh, say.